Alright, hello and welcome today to another Halloween episode. It seems like these are the only ones that I actually give a shit about right now. That's actually not true. Today we are being powered by Rant. This will technically be like my first video with the new computer. I just put it all together and I realized, oh shit, I haven't done a Halloween Spooktacular. So I guess it's time for me to play some video games with a vampire and fucking rant about some bullshit that I feel like ranting about however, whenever. Gunslinger for me. Ooh, that's pretty loud. Right, so we're gonna do that. Maybe, I don't know. Alright, maybe I'll just have to cut that real quick, or... Fuck it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Who cares? I don't. So they're rushing for the first ones. That's cool. So, one of my favorite games to play this year has been Overwatch. Overwatch is a great competitive game, and I really wish I was able to make videos about it. But unfortunately, I can either play video games or record them. I cannot do both on my old machine, which was one of the first things that really got me looking into the Ryzen chips in the first place. So that was really cool. I remember when they were being called the Zen chips, just Zen. And that was definitely exciting. I've kind of always been an AMD fanboy, for lack of a better term. I've always kind of had brand loyalty. It's just kind of a thing in, you know, my personality. Some people aren't like that, and I totally respect you if you are like that, you know, if you're not like that, you know, because you should vote with your money and you should buy the best thing with that money, regardless of who makes it or what the branding is on it. You know, I've always kind of been a underdog kind of guy. I love stuff that isn't number one, because for one, it's always really easy to find it super cheap. And for two, usually the performance dip isn't a big deal if there is one. Yes, there's usually reasons why certain things come out on top and have better... Oh, vampire right there. There's your vampire. Oh yeah, here's your vampire. Oh, you can't really see that. Oh well, fuck it. Anyway, yeah, and the performance difference usually isn't a big deal with your number 2 or number 3 items. And yeah, sure, you don't get the talking points of, oh, I have an iPhone as well, oh, I've got an iPhone 7 or iPhone 8. Nah, dude, I'm a Droid user through and through. Actually, I used to love my Windows phone, but they haven't made new Windows hardware in long enough to make it worth it. Oh wow, I'm actually doing terribly. I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm more talking, which is fine, actually. That's kind of why I did this. Where is it? Oh, they already did it. They already killed it. It's fine. Let's just use it. Anyway, but I've never felt the need to be the trendy kind of person and have a name brand anything that isn't just because I like the design or like what is being offered, whether it's clothes or computer equipment or cars or car parts or whatever, you know. I will buy whatever appeals to me usually, but there are certain X factors. Like, every single car I have paid money for has been a Ford. That's actually kind of on accident, but at the same time, the last car that I bought, I sought out, and it was a Ford Focus, SVT Focus. The last car that, like, I really spent money on and upgraded and did a lot of stuff for. And yeah, I've always had AMD parts. I've always had full AMD builds if it's a computer that I have paid money for. I've been given a couple of Intel and NVIDIA computers. Shit, man. This is awful. Let's do this. 2, 1. Eat a dick. Oh, he killed me before I could fucking kill him. That was awful. That was fucking terrible. Anyway, every single computer I've paid money for has been an AMD computer. I've had a Q6600 computer with I think it was like a GT84 or something like that, or GT870 maybe. Not a GTX, but like an old NVIDIA like GT model from the mid 2000s, I guess. But it was a beefy one, but it was still only like 512 megs. It's a good computer. It was a good computer. It actually was the computer that started this channel, believe it or not. That old Q6600. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna straight up fucking die. You know, fuck it. If I can take this out of... Ah! Fuck! Wow. It's terrible. I'm playing awful right now. But yeah, the Q6600 is what started the channel. And I am totally grateful for that gift, and I wasn't going to turn it down just because it had Intel and NVIDIA stuff in it. That's fine. It worked. It worked pretty well. It was pretty dated by the time I got it, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I did what I could with it. Started the channel. Shit. I mean, those videos are really bad, but shit, I'm not a great YouTuber. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I started off with that long tangential story because I basically hated trying to get a hold of the 2 parts that I got a hold of this year. So this year was the year of Sonya 2.0. For those of you who don't know, Sonya is my PC. She is my side bitch. She is the one, she is the mistress that is second to my heart, only to my fiance. But my computer has been struggling for a long, really honestly ever since I got it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I had an FX 6300 in it, and I got it like 3 years ago when it was already outdated, and it was bad. It was bad. It was terrible. Honestly, it was a really bad computer. I made the most out of it. I really did. I had a R7 2600X in it to allow me to do those Heroes videos. That's what I was recording those old those Heroes videos with. Was a R7 2600X and an FX 6300, only with 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that computer struggled. I'm not gonna bullshit you. It struggled a lot, and I really I needed something better, but I just didn't have the money for it. Period. Just didn't. But I needed shit. Fuck. Ah, that sucks. I hate that. I fucking hate that. And now I'm mad, and I'm missing every fucking shot. Fuck. Fuck. Alright, fine, fine. You want it, you got it. Fucking got it. So this year, I saved up a lot of money to replace my very much aging computer. I probably spent about $700 on it so far, and there's a little bit more to do. She's not done just yet, but she has been completely revamped. Motherboard, CPU, RAM, graphics card. The only thing I didn't replace so far was my old SSDs, and my SSD and my old hard drive. Yay, we did it! Even though it was terrible, I did terribly. I'm sorry, guys, that was terrible. I'll do some more try-hard modes when I'm not ranting and talking, I promise. Anyway, the parts that I got. Damn, I usually get those, but I had a really, really bad... I only used my ultimate twice. Anyway, I basically replaced everything important. Everything important. Like I said, the only things I kept were my hard drives and my case and power supply, because my power supply is beefy. I needed a beefy power supply, and let's do another one. And my case was fine. My case was actually really nice to work in. It's a standard ATX form factor. It's mid-size, I guess. It's not a large. It's definitely not small, and it's not micro. Let's do that again. Let's do that again, but better. So being... Right, I'm talking about my computer. Sorry. I'm trying to just play the game and be entertaining and not have ums and uhs and ands and but I was doing that totally in the beginning of the video anyway, so whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it! Anyway. So let me tell you something. I had enough money for a graphics card. I did not have enough money for a new CPU, motherboard, and RAM, which was what I was going to need to buy to completely upgrade my CPU architecture, which makes sense, correct? Running off AM3 Plus platform, running on DDR3 RAM, I couldn't keep any of it. I really couldn't. So I couldn't just sit there and piecemeal the things and guarantee that they would all run by the time I had them all together. I needed to buy it all at once, assemble it all at once, and make sure it all ran just in case warranties and all that shit ran up. So what I decided to do for my first part of the upgrade was buy a graphics card. So the RX 4 series, the RX 480s and 460s, 470, all that bullshit. The RX 4 series had launched around my birthday, I want to say 2016? Yeah, 2016. And I've been drooling over those for a long time, because I was like, yeah, AMD's finally coming back with some good hardware, blah blah blah, and you know, it's decent. It's decent. The Polaris architecture wasn't terrible. Well, every single time I saved up enough money for it, something would happen. It just was what it was. Something would happen. My car, or like car issues, life issues, whatever. So I just couldn't afford to do it for the longest time. Fast forward till about last April when the 5 series launched. I ended up getting myself an RX Red Devil, or a Red Devil Gold Sample RX 580. It had literally just launched. The CPUs were like fucking hot off the presses, and not CPUs, GPUs were hot off the presses, and people were going nuts over them, man. They were testing really, really well. They were comparable to, I want to say, like GTX 970s. At the very least, that's what they were running like. Sometimes they would hit 980 numbers, but the overall consensus of these of the Polaris refresh, because everyone was waiting on Vega and was disappointed that the 5 series weren't running on Vega chips. But the Polaris refresh was really good, man. They really tweaked it and did some good things with it. And my 580 is incredible. It is a really, really solid performing graphics card for about 260 bucks. Well, with shipping, it ended up being like 280. But totally worth it. Totally worth it. And so we lean into my first major rant. I fucking hate Bitcoin miners. Why do you get to sit there and jack up all of the prices for the rest of us? When the 480s came out, they were not available for anyone who weren't wholesale partners or YouTube reviewers. No normal people could get their hands on them, because I think that people had already realized that they were good Bitcoin mining machines, or good for Bitcoin mining machines rather. Fuck you. Fuck you for buying up all of the RX, like high-end RX series, because it wasn't. None of us could get a hold of them at all. None of us could. The only reason I got mine was because I was lucky and had the money at the perfect time, at the exact perfect time. That's the only reason I'm not running a GTX 1060 right now. It's so I could fucking. I just bought it at the perfect moment. That's all that it boiled down to. I feel really bad for anyone who wanted a 580 and can't get one for a reasonable price. And you know what? For that, I do not blame you for getting the GTX 1060 with 3 gigabytes or 6 gigabytes. You know, it's totally a way better price to like pay what $220 for a 3 gig model. I mean, you don't want a 3 gig. You should get the 6 gig. Some people say that the 4 gigabyte model is fine for like your RX 4 or 5 series. Nah. If you want to do modern ultra settings, which these things can do, they can do ultra settings, but you need the RAM cache as well. So if you want to do that kind of stuff, then yeah, you need the 8 gigabytes. That's just fucking hands down. That being said, it really pissed me off that it was made so damn impossible for any normal person to get a hold of any of the high-end RX cards for a long time, for a very long time. And you know what? Right now, prices are still really, really high for your standard RX 470 and 480. It's fucking insane. That is absolutely insane. I think the last thing I heard, and this was like a month or two ago, and so prices could have finally started to settle out a little bit, but last thing I heard was a 580 was selling for somewhere around like $350 for that? That's insane. That is absolutely insane. What the fuck are you guys thinking? And AMD are just as culpable for not being able to put out a specific Bitcoin mining card using the Polaris and Vega chips. They could do it and make so much money off of it, and intentionally price gouge those guys while giving us, you know, everyday gamers the cards that we deserve. Not the cards that we want, but the cards we deserve. Oh man. But yeah, end rant number 1. So I was really lucky to get my card, and I was having a good time with it, even running with the FX 6300. It was a really good experience, honestly. Gaming was finally good, except for one problem. AMD did not support their FX chips very well, and so I constantly had driver crashes and driver errors and full-on system lockups because of a driver crash. It was pretty bad, honestly. But when it ran great. But honestly, flip a coin and my computer would run. No joke. You turn it on and it was just a 50-50 shot of whether or not it would run. Sometimes I would have to turn it off and on a few times to get it to run properly, but I could usually get it running solidly for the rest of the night. Which is... fuck it. Just do it. Just fucking run. It was cool. Because the graphics card, when it did run, could keep up. It could fucking do its job. Look at it right now. This we're playing on Ultra. I don't know if it's capturing at 60 right now. But I have not seen any kind of frame rate dips at all. At all. While playing with all... like, that's kind of why I wanted to do Junkensein's Revenge over, like, an actual vampire game this year. Was just so I could test while recording. And, oh shit, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. This is 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 a bad idea. Oh, shoot. Oh, my God. Just to test her out. Anyway, but I could play up to, well, I couldn't really play Dishonored. I could run it, and I could run it at about 40 frames per second at 1080, like low settings, blah blah blah. Except for, like, I could tweak things that would only impact the GPU. So like your textures and your shaders and stuff like that. I could do that. But when it came to anything CPU bound, nope, couldn't do it. Could not do it for some reason. But it was what it was. You know, that's all I could do until I could save up more money. Fast forward till literally last week. I was in Marietta, Georgia, where, hey look, there I am, finally, where the only local Micro Center exists. It was pretty, oh, that was terrible. Oh well, at least I'm making all those shots. Where the only Micro Center is, oh, look at that, all of the damage. All of the damage. Come on, give me one more. Give me one more. Give me that ultimate. Give me that ultimate. Nah. Nah, not having it. Anyway, I bought all the parts I needed. I finally got the motherboard, RAM, and Ryzen chip. I ended up getting a 1600 even, because after all of the research that I was doing, the most value, like best bang for your buck, was the 1600 solid. Not the X, but the 1600. Because with just a little bit of tweaking, you could overclock it to be higher than the run speed of the X anyway. So it was fun. I've got mine currently running at 3.8 gigahertz with just the stock cooler. I'm using one of the Wraith coolers, which actually is really good. It's the regular Spire. It's not the LED one. I actually don't have super sick LEDs yet. I say yet because what I want to do is get a couple of LED fans, get some red ones, and have Sonya's guts be black and red, because with the Asus Prime board, the original X370 board was red and black, or black with red accents, I should say. And it's fucking cool. It's not the standard anymore. They want you to buy the X370 Pro. I don't know what the difference is between the two, except for like $50. So fuck that noise. I was like, nope. Getting the one I had my eye on, getting the 1600. So here was the problem though. RAM, babe, what are you doing to me? I don't even know what's wrong here. I believe I've heard from like Wendell from Level 1 Tech that the process of creating DDR4 or like the kind of elements that they use is in some sort of scarcity. I don't know if it's the metals or silicone process, but it is very, very hard to it is getting progressively harder. Progressively? I don't know. It's getting harder to manufacture these chips. That's the only thing that I have been able to understand. But I don't know if it's like I said, the mineral concoction to make the silicone, because really silicone's just sand. It's like high pressed glass, blah blah blah. But the problem is RAM has been steadily increasing in price for the last, I want to say, year since DDR4 has been a thing. I'm gonna join this guy since they seem to have the corner. DDR4, the prices, I think I've seen climb like 40% over the last year. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. To get a 16 gigabyte package, hang on a second, I've got the receipt right here. Yeah, my Crucial 16 gigabyte whatever. I'll look at the box later. But my 16 gigabyte pack from Crucial that only ran at 2400. It wasn't even like high speed overclocked or whatever bullshit. $160, $159.99. What the fuck? That is literally $10 per gigabyte. SSDs aren't that expensive, yo. They're not. That is absolutely insane. So, whatever's happening to the manufacturing process, fucking quit it. We want our computers, goddammit. We want our computers with decent fucking value. I want a computer with decent value. I don't need to spend $1,000 on a graphics card and then another $1,000 on a CPU. I don't need the i7, 5900X or 5950X. You know what I mean? I don't need a GTX Titan XP. I don't need any of that shit, dude. All I need is just something capable. That's it. Something capable. Usually people would say, well, then go with an i5 or a cheaper i7, but they're not cheaper. They're really not. That stuff's really fucking expensive. And then to have to buy a very super expensive Z99, X99, Z370, Z270, whatever the fuck the new chipset flavor of the week is for Intel at that time, it really fucks up your upgrade paths really quickly. Really fucking quickly. The one thing that I can say about AMD stuff is that my motherboard was over 10 years old by the time I replaced it. No joke. And it was not doing the job perfectly, but it got the job done. And that was, I needed more power, but at the same time, for 10 years, they were supporting the FX lineup, including up until the FX9 series, the 8-core, like 930, 950, 980s, or 9800s. Yeah. 9800, there we go. Yeah, up until the moment that they dropped the Zen chips. So, to know that my motherboard should be good to go for at least another, I don't know, 5 years at the very least. Like, I know for a fact I will be able to get one more CPU upgrade out of this, for sure. Like, for real, I should be able to get one more CPU upgrade out of this. And that's all that matters. The fact that I only spent, let me look at the fucking... Yeah, the Prime X370 was $130, which I got a $50 rebate from Micro Center because Micro Center has rat deals. You can't count on that ever, but at the same time, I only ended up spending $70-something, $79 on that motherboard to make sure I had a solid upgrade path. That's all that mattered. But yeah, end rant number 2 with DDR RAM. That fucking sucks. It really sucks. It really sucks. DDR4, like, in order for people to have modern machines, they need the DDR4. That is now a regular thing. That's it. You can't. God, it sucks. It just sucks. Because I would have loved to have gotten 3200 overclockable at 16 gigabytes, but that was almost $220. Maybe I'm not done with this rant. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not done with the rant yet. But fuck it. Did he already do? I think he already did his shadow stuff. So fuck But I can't. You know, I couldn't afford it. I refused to drop the $220 on overclockable RAM. I just needed to get the system running. My computer has been giving me a lot of had been giving me a lot of troubles recently, and it was just nice. Holy shit! I'm glad I got that recorded. I'll probably cut that and put that on Facebook. Anyway, as I was saying, I needed to get my new computer running. Period. I couldn't wait for RAM prices to drop, and I'm glad I didn't wait for the RX 580 to be confirmed as a good card rather than, you know, just believe early videos and early speculation and shit. Nice. And so here we are, almost, I guess, $700 later. Here we are. I'm finally recording full, beautiful 1080p footage with nary a missed frame. Running a little warm, but, you know, not a whole lot, actually. My computer itself feels good. But I hope you guys have a good and safe Halloween. And I'm sorry that the rant was a little half-assed this year. I knew I needed to drop something, and I don't know, guys. This is what you got. This is what you're getting. This is the best you got. Anyway, guys, take care of yourselves, and please be safe. Peace.